Hey everyone, so it's Jazz here, and I wanted to give you guys more of a sit-down video just to give you some updates of what's going on. I know like the lighting is a little weird because it is like 6:03 in the morning, so on a Wednesday. But anyway, I wanted to give you guys some updates of what's been going on and things that are coming soon. So just to get into that, the first thing is I'm actually working on being able to teach a full class. So it's particularly German, and I'm working with a literacy center to be able to teach it. So I have been taking courses from the same literacy center just because I take more of like the advanced levels just so that I actually am able to maintain a little bit more, specifically with French, and I have taken an Italian course. I did do a video about that class that I particularly took and my thoughts on that because I'm always on a search for better ways to teach a language, and part of it is that even though I had been taking Italian for a while, and I think it was there was a level 2 intermediate class that was the highest level I could take. And so I ended up switching over to French for more maintenance. I think that I'm ready to see how it's going to be teaching a class. I haven't really taught a full class in a while. I think the last time I did that was when I think it was in my early 20s when I was I think it was during the pandemic, and I had done a live stream, so it was just a virtual thing. So I'm teaching in person, so I can actually be more hands-on. So I'm used to working with people one-on-one. So it'll be really interesting to do a video on how that really works out. It's going to be about a 9 or 10 week course. I've got materials because I made the course material for an online course, but I decided that, with working with this particular center, is that they do allow people to teach as long as it's something that people that people there would want to sign up for. I'm going to be really interested to see what's like teaching in person. I have all the materials pretty much ready. It's just a matter of just teaching and then getting their feedback, because I know at the end of the classes at this center, they do their own survey, but I'm hoping to be allowed to do my own class evaluation at the end, just so I can get more feedback, because we always have room for improvement. So I really want to get some feedback of actually teaching in a full in-person class setting. And I've also done like some presentations, but they were pre-recorded for a conference. And so I'm thinking that it'll be interesting. I have done public speaking before, but it'll just be interesting to do it several weeks in a row. So I'm really excited about that. Also, I have a secret project that I'm working on. It is going to be an online course, but it's very much career specific, and it's in terms of tailoring that down. I'm not going to give too many details on that, but I'm really, really excited about it. So that's pretty much all I'll really say on that, because that's not really ready for me to start talking. It's still in development stage. So of course, as you know, my podcast launched, and the second one, because the first one was Destination Deutschland, about my au pair experience. And then the second one, as you all know, is the Living the International Life podcast, Living the International Life, I was really excited about this because I remember I had planned this last year. I got all these people together because I have so many people in my network that have all this experience and all these different things that they were doing abroad. Some of them were YouTubers that I had been watching for a while. And one of them was actually Shay Jordan. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited because I've been watching her videos. I was part of like her community. She was very active on YouTube as well. So one of her comments something, and I also followed her on Instagram. So when she announced that she was finally making it official that she was going to move to Italy, she was going to do it, I was like, I'm rooting for you. Please do it. And I was so happy that she agreed to do the interview. Because she's been in Italy for I think like 2.5 years now. I don't know. I've been following her for a while, but it was just really interesting to be able to see her experiences living abroad and making those like she made some videos that were about like the cultural differences, cultural shock. The technical term is acculturation, because you're getting accustomed to a new way of life. And then I think she did a video where she came back to the United States, and it's like you kind of see the contrast on that. I was so excited to do Kaylin Grace Apple. She has a YouTube channel specifically for, actually I found her YouTube channel because I really was thinking about going back to school to get a master's, and I wanted to do it abroad. And her video popped up in my suggestions. It was like how to read and take notes as a PhD student. And for me, that just really intrigued me. And I saw some of her other content, and I really liked that she was very transparent about the experience being abroad. Because she did some vlogs that was through her master's when she was at Oxford. And then now, of course, she is living in London. She shared the whole experience of what she did, and you know, how she made that happen. She said it was a very expensive move, but you know, I think that's amazing, because I talk to so many people who say things like, "Oh, I could never do that," and I'm like, here's someone who literally made it happen. You know, on both ends. So it really just, I think that if you really want to make something happen, you will make it happen. But a lot of times I think it really has to do with having the resources to do so, or how do I access those resources? I mean, really, I think it's possible. For me personally, as most people know, I am very, I think most of the time people who know me in person, I'm very devoted to my own faith, and I believe that anything is possible. Like, you know, if you don't believe in Christianity, that's fine. But for me, is that, you know, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's like there's no reason why the universe, God, whatever, would be against you being able to live out your dreams and your desires. So that's just my personal belief, but I just think that it is possible. So people have done it, and I want them to share their secrets. I want them to share their experiences. I actually got to interview my best friend, my 10-year-long best friend, Gabby. And so she is in med school now in New York, but she actually was getting her master's in Oxford as well. And so she shared her experience of like visa experience. Because she said she was like detained for like a couple of days or so because of the fact that her visa had some complications. So I really want you to learn from their experiences, because at the end of the day is that these are really interesting stories to share, because it happens and we look back on it and we're like, oh my gosh, can you believe that happened to me? You know, those kinds of things. And of course, like, nobody wants to get detained. But the point is that she's sharing what she did wrong. She's sharing certain experiences. And that's what I really love. You know, Kayla Belush, she was sharing her experience because she now lives in Spain, but she was going to Spain for her master's. And when she was, which is where she met her now husband. And so she was saying that she had to figure out how to get her degree, or, you know, that diploma document to them. And she was like, they're not going to get it in time by mail. So she literally got on a plane and sent it to Spain. Not to say that, you know, you should do that. I think it's just more about, like, you know, looking at details, like being able to, like I said, just learn from these people. They have so much, you know, wealth and knowledge, being able to do these kinds of things. Something that I was really passionate about. I was like, people need to hear these stories. And I hope that they inspire you. I really encourage you to actually go and listen to them. You know, I don't care what you're doing, even if you're like, I don't know, doing homework or I don't know, at work, you should listen to them, listen to their stories, because they're really great. The next aspect of traveling, I have been traveling a little bit. I have not been traveling internationally this year, mostly focusing on one of my other businesses. And so I traveled to Vegas, I think twice this year. I'll be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of Vegas. Please don't hate me. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's just because most of the time I'm there for a conference 2 times a year. Especially like in October, it's always a weird time to travel to Vegas because it's super hot, it's super dry, and we're at the conference and we're like we're at the stadium trying to fill up our water bottles, and we're sitting there and we're like, this water tastes terrible, but it's all we had, you know, we're just trying to stay hydrated. But the thing was, when I was going there, I was like, oh, I can't wait to get to Vegas because it's going to be warm, because it was starting to get cold here in Kentucky. And then when I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. It's like dust in the air. You can feel it getting through your lungs. I don't know. I'm a highly sensitive person. I am very sensitive to my environment. I was like, I did not like that. And I don't think you have to be a sensitive person to not like dust getting in your lungs. And so I was staying with one of my business partners, and we're just like sitting there like waiting for the bus, and the bus in Vegas is usually late. We're sitting there and like, oh my gosh. And so when I got there, I was like, I can't wait to get back to Kentucky. So, and most of the time, I personally don't smoke or anything. I don't even vape or anything. I just don't like it. But it's like every hotel generally there has a casino, and most of the time people are smoking in that casino. And so it's just like you come in to check in to your hotel and you're like, what is that? But yeah, so that's just my experience. I had ended up in Washington State a couple of times. One for another conference. It was like a family reunion type of conference. Business-wise, we're a business family, but yeah. And so I ended up there, and I got stuck in that IT outage with CrowdStrike. And I spent so many hours in line waiting for a rebook ticket, because when I got there, this is a long short story. So like basically when I got to my airport in Kentucky, they said, oh, by the way, we're experiencing a delay, because there was like the blue screen of death where like, I don't know, Microsoft update just I don't know. It just destroyed everything. Destruction. But yeah, so that happened. And so my flight was supposed to leave for Atlanta at like 6 in the morning. I waited 3 hours to board. And I was like, all right, it's great. I had my priority pass membership. I was like, I am going to go sit in the lounge until my flight leaves whenever from Atlanta to SeaTac. That did not happen. It's like after that, it was like when you get there, it's like, okay, the funny thing was, is I looked at my phone, it says your flight is now boarding. And it's like, oh my gosh, the flight takes off at 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock right now. Or I think, no, it wasn't 1. It was like 10 o'clock. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to get on this plane. I'm like, my flight is just now like landing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I missed that flight, obviously. And it's like, all right, go to the help desk. And so you're standing in line. I was standing in line for maybe about 30, 40 minutes. And then I got a rebooked flight. Then that flight got canceled. Wonderful. And so then the last flight out for that night, at 9, I was on standby, but I was like number 35. I was like, there's definitely no way. And there's like a million people. I mean, I was standing in line again for like 3 hours to get another rebooked ticket. I think it was like a ticket on standby. And I was standing there with like these people from, I think there were 2 people that worked in IT, and they were explaining to me, I was like, yeah, I heard something about Microsoft. They said, no, it wasn't Microsoft, it was CrowdStrike. And I learned things. I made friends, and I learned that CrowdStrike is like a company that like most people don't know unless you're like in tech. Well, yeah, so I guess somebody just pushed a update through and didn't check for errors, and Microsoft is their client. And because they are a client, it did affect everybody who has a PC, or every company that has a PC at the most relevant, And so people are saying Microsoft, this and this is a Microsoft issue. I'm like, it's really not. It's And so they're like, yeah, this is like some type of error where like a whole entire department would get fired over that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I literally was seeing like play dates happening, because like there was these kids with like these little like toys and stuff, like Legos or something, and it was like we were moving up in the line. And then like I think this is like one of the things about like being single, is that like when you're in line, you're traveling as a single person, is like this one lady, her husband went to go get food, and then they got back in the line and said, who is like so-and-so playing with? Who's our daughter playing with? He's like, oh, and she goes, oh yeah, this is this guy. Just met. So you had like friendships building because we were standing in line for so many hours. And then I got that standby ticket, did not get on that flight. So I'm like, all right, well, and everyone's standing around like, oh, we're waiting for them to tell us what to do. And I'm like, I'm going to go back to the help desk before that line starts building up again. I was in line from about 11 p.m. And you know what time I got to the front of the line? 6:30 a.m. I was in line for like at least like 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's like 8 hours. I could have been, it was so funny because we're all like just standing there just like hating our lives right now. And so we're like, oh, like, when you're standing for that long, your legs start hurting. At least for me, I can't stand for too long because like my thighs start like cramping up for some reason. We're like, oh, there's a chair. Those like ADA chairs where they like bring like you know, older people or like people with disabilities, like to their gate. We found one and we're like, we're going to take turns sitting in it. And it's like whoever's in the chair, we'll just push them up whenever like the line moves. I was like, this is what the world is coming to. And like, I'm like, couldn't, and I remember when it wasn't my turn to sit in the chair, but I was sitting on the floor. I was like trying to kneel down on the floor, and I was using my backpack so that my like butt didn't like sit directly on the ground. And I just felt myself just like bobbing from side to side. And the one lady behind me, she's like, all right, come on. She's like, come on, honey, it's time to move. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And I realized I was like, I gotta stand back up because I'm going to literally fall asleep. So we were just, I don't know, I just think that like when bad things happen, we're just all trying to figure it out together. So we get up to the front of the line and I'm like, I'm tired. It's 6 o'clock. Yes, we made it. I see a person at a desk. And so someone comes up and is like trying to ask the lady about her bag. And we're all like, did she just do that? And you've got like people who have not slept overnight. And you just hear someone saying, hey lady, go take a walk. And I'm like, and then we have like all these people there were some people who were like, you know, like elderly people, like ADA. And so they were pushing them to the front of the line and we're like, what? You can't do that. And the lady was like, I've been waiting from 6 a.m. yesterday. And they're like, yes, so have we. And so it's like, they should do like every other one. You know, I don't know. Like, you know how like people are, we're just like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe they did that. And it's like, I don't know. It just felt like, you know, when people cut the line after like 8 hours of standing in line, we don't do that. You know, that's like the best way to piss a bunch of people off. So we're just like, you can't do that. We've been waiting here. And then it was like, all right, so it's your turn. Make sure you get up there. You know, it's like, you get on your flight. And they were like, yes. And so we're like all encouraging each other. Like, you know, I was like, I got to my gate. I finally got a confirmed seat the next morning going out at like 10 a.m. And I was standing next to a family and they're like, oh yeah, we've been here since Thursday. And I'm like, I've been here since Friday. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because it's like, it's Saturday. And so they're like, yeah, we came back from Rome. Like we were on a family vacation and we've been stuck in an airport since Thursday. I'm like, 2 days in the airport. You should just shoot me. Because I mean, I honestly, it changed my perspective because I like airports. I love traveling. I love having, you know, my priority pass. I love having my TSA pre-check, you know, things like that. I'm like, I love having, you know, my comforts, but it's like, being stuck in one place and not being able to get fresh air for so many hours or even like days, I'm going to lose it. So I'm like, wow, this is really great. So I got my confirmed seat. And then I also went to get breakfast. I was like, oh, I can finally eat because I was starving, you know, standing in line. And so I saw this little cafe and I sat there with this lady. She had just flown in from Tennessee. And I was like, oh, hey. And she's like, yeah, like I just got here. I flew in from Tennessee. I'm going to Vegas for my birthday. I'm like, cool. And I'm like, I've been here since yesterday and I was supposed to get to Seattle yesterday. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, we've all been stuck in this airport for like at least like 26 hours. She's like, wow, no wonder everyone here is drinking. Keep in mind, it is like 7 in the morning. Yes. There's like a mom and her son. He's like, can I get another beer? And it's like, again, but then again, it's like, you've been awake for like 26 hours. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, so I was like, that's really cool. Like, and apparently it was her 50th birthday. And I'm like, congratulations. That's amazing. You made it that long. I'm lucky if I live to 30, you know, every day is not promised. But anyway, yeah, that was my experience. And I got to Seattle and I missed one of my friends being able to speak on stage, but it was a live stream so I could watch it later on, but I still was upset that I didn't get to scream for her in person. But yeah, so that was my experience. And then I went back to, I went back to Seattle for another event. It was for one of our friends. He has a lake house and he rented out this entire like Boy Scout camp or whatever. So we got to basically do a bunch of outdoorsy things. And it was like about a month after that. I went to Tacoma in July. And then August, I went to Mount Vernon. I went back to Washington a month later. And so I was having the greatest time of my life, even though I severely hurt myself mountain biking, because it's funny because I ride a bike every day by choice. And so they asked me like, you have experience? I'm like, yeah, I ride a bike all the time. Wrong. Mountain biking and cycling down the street in my little Dutch bike is not the same thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going downhill on a mountainside. Like, it feels like 20 or 30 miles an hour. I don't know how to handle this. And I did the wrong thing, which was hit the brake, and I basically fell over, like flipped over and fell on a bed of rocks. Unfortunately, I don't know how I didn't break anything. I was very badly bruised and I was limping, and I lost my phone for a little bit, and my friend was like, where have you been? I've been calling you. I was like, I have no idea where my phone is. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go boating. I'm going to sit in the middle of the lake, which is like my happy place, anywhere near water. I was sitting on a boat in the middle of a lake. I was like, that's amazing. And then I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I'm so excited I'm going to be in a boat. I just lost my phone and hurt myself. They're like, what? I'm like, it's okay. I'm going to be on a boat in like 5 minutes, you know? And then I went ziplining for the first time, which is really fun. So it was like, it was really fun. I had a really great time, despite the fact that I hurt myself. And I went to the doctor and they're like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just really swollen and it's very badly bruised. So I'm like, okay, cool. Guys, I feel like I'm eternally blessed. You guys don't understand. You guys don't understand how blessed I feel like I am. I mean, that literally could have been worse. And I was like, all right, like, I'm just gonna wait. Like, when I fell over, I was like, oh, it's gonna sting for a second. Oh, there it is. All right, let's wait for it to pass. All right, now let's get up. I don't know, I don't know what it is. And I was like, my friend was like, you're crazy. I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, that's what happened. And then, of course, recently, in the last couple of weeks ago, I went to Vegas again. I don't know where I'm going next. I know that next year my plan is to go to New York, and I need to make another trip back to LA because I have so many people in both of these cities. So, and my plan is to basically work remotely, like during those times, because I want to take like a week off. I want to be able to really be able to enjoy my time in New York, visiting friends, and I really want to take the time to, and same thing in LA, I want to really take my time. So I might just bring my computer and just work remotely. I have to use up all my vacation time with my full-time job. Actually, you know, I think I really want to go back to Canada. I really enjoyed seeing my friend there, and especially during December. It's like my favorite time now, even though like it was like -9 degrees Celsius. I still enjoyed it. I had a really nice coat, like a really thick coat, and I just enjoyed myself. And also, I have another announcement because in November, sort of like late November, I'm having a webinar for everything you need to know about studying abroad. I'm combining my own experience as well as things I've learned from other people, resources I compiled, and I want to share that with you. So if you want to participate, you can sign up. You can use the link below, and I'll also have it posted within a discussions tab, I believe, on our YouTube channel. So I really think that that would be beneficial for anyone who really wants to study abroad, who really feels like there's a value of that. You know, I really want you guys to get the value in studying abroad because it is so wonderful. You meet so many people. Language is something that you obviously are going to learn. You can learn beforehand like I did, or during the experience, and just really being able to have those really rich experiences to take home, and a lot of things that you can actually apply to your own career. So those are things that I really want to emphasize. So I thank you so much for watching this. I feel like this is longer than I expected. I don't know. I mean, I'm really excited for what's coming up. We're coming up on year 6 of my organization being in existence. So I thank you guys for supporting by watching, as well as like visiting our website and, you know, being a part of our webinars and all these things. So I really appreciate the support because I think this is really important. Language and culture is becoming much more relevant than it was before. And, I'm just really excited about impacting people and helping people become more connected to the world, as well as the people that are in it. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.